Okay.
Hey guys, it's me, Arian, doing another video with my sister.
Hi.
We're doing part 2 of What If Deku Had Cross Sans Powers, or was Cross Sans. I don't know what the title of this video is going to be. But anyways, we last left off with if you haven't watched the first part, you can go watch that. I can't even remember where we left off. I think it was after Deku bit up stop the bullies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he had a chat with the principal. He went home. Basically, the principal's called the authorities because he's confused as to what's going on and how a male developed a quirk. The authorities come to Inko's house, and basically they try to capture Izuku.
Yeah.
Of course, Inko tries to fight back, but is knocked out. Deku, or Izuku, who just saw this, decides that basically goes berserk and uses a Gaster Blaster on the SWAT team, basically obliterating half of them. And of course, Deku just runs off.
Yeah.
And everyone who saw this on TV was completely shook. Inko was taken in for interrogation, and basically Izuku is on the run. So of course, in my story, he's gonna be kind of like a vigilante. He's not gonna be a hero or really a villain. It's gonna be like an anti-hero, basically. He's able to find. One night he does come back to his house only for a short bit, just to get his great grandfather's weapons from the legend and all that. So he gets basically 2 bone sickles or bone knives that you see in the picture. He also has a gigantic knife, and basically that's it. He has 2 2 bone cleavers or whatever they're called, and a giant knife. Also, he takes the clothes that Cross wears. The clothes right here. So basically, he has those clothes because they're basically the ancient warrior clothes. About a few months later, about 6 months later, the UA entrance exam happens. Yeah, so basically, one of the lessons was investigating the mystery of trying to find this male person with a quirk. Bakugo instantly recognizes him and says that quirkless loser. How on earth did he develop a quirk? And Aizawa said, Katsuki, you know him? Or Katsuki Bakugo, yeah, whatever. You get the point. Akiko says yes. He was one of those. He was a quirkless. He was one of those losers in high school, and everyone starts searching around to see to look for evidence. And Todoroki stumbles inside, goes to a dark alleyway where he sees a mysterious figure standing in front of the bin. He says, "Who are you and what are you doing here?" And the figure says, "So looks like you found me, huh? Too bad you're not telling the others." And immediately teleports. He teleports behind. He teleports behind Todoroki. Well, not teleports it. Basically, he uses his quick agility to run up to Todoroki. Todoroki creates an ice wall. However, However, Deku is able to cut right through it with his bone cleavers, and Deku gives Todoroki a chop to the neck, knocking Todoroki out. Todoroki out for the count. Deku decides to run again, and when they find Todoroki's unconscious body, he's all healed up, and Aizawa and the pro heroes decide to investigate as well. And Izuku hears out for a cry for help, and jumps on right to the scene. However, he's surprised to see Mr. Aizawa using an audio decoy. Aizawa basically disables the audio decoy and immediately starts charging at Izuku. Izuku, basically for the past week or so, he's been teaching himself basically ninja skills and all that. Basically learning martial arts and how to use various weapons. Sorry about that. But anyways, sorry about pausing the video. Anyways, Izuku immediately backflips over Aizawa and throws one of his basically bone cleavers at Aizawa, immediately connecting with his shoulder. Aizawa trying to pull the cleaver out, while Aizawa was distracted, Izuku uses a Gaster Blaster. However, Aizawa disables quirk, making the Gaster Blaster vanish, and Izuku has no choice but to use the giant knife. And Izuku says, "I didn't want to do this, but desperate times call for desperate measures." Takes out the giant knife, and immediately just starts running around with it, hopping all over the walls. And Aizawa gets the bone cleaver out of his shoulder and basically directs it straight at Izuku. Izuku just dodges it because, well, he fast. Can you stop with that? What are you doing, Aisha? Are you breathing so heavy? You probably can't hear it, but my sister's breathing really heavily. I don't know why. And Izuku charges. Izuku, once he's built enough speed, basically dashes straight past Aizawa, leaving him with a gigantic scar on his chest. Aizawa basically bleeding and battered, and passes out. I know there's a lot of passing out in this episode already, and it's only 8 minutes in.
It's gonna be 8 minutes.
No, it's not. Probably gonna be way longer than 8 minutes, but
You're gonna go sleep, Barney.
no, you're not. I'm not. I'm not going to sleep. I don't like go sleep.
You have to.
No, I don't like go sleep.
Otherwise, your brain will get sacrificed.
What is it? You are weird.
Otherwise you'll be like tired.
Okay, come on. But anyways, surprise, surprise, All Might's here, and basically punches Izuku, or Deku, I don't know what you call him, but punches him straight in the gut, basically knocking him out. Like, people's been knocked out 3 times in this episode already. And basically takes him in for interrogation. Well, actually, so All Might asks him a few questions. Izuku answers the question and tells him about the Midoriya legend, And All Might, remember, only females have quirks in this world, so basically everyone who has a quirk in the original universe is now a girl. So yeah, keep that in mind. I think I said Todoroki was a he, and so was Aizawa and All Might. I'm sorry, it's just I haven't Todoroki. Todoroki. Anyways, Izuku basically answers those questions, and while he's set free, if he does something like that again, he will be put into prison. And he isn't really allowed to fight villains since he doesn't really have a hero license. Of course, Izuku accepts this, but deep inside his mind, he's basically what he's thinking is that he's not gonna apply by these rules at all, and basically he's gonna save people, hero license or not. So basically, he becomes an anti-hero, doing what he does. Basically, he made a mask for himself to cover his face, so then nobody would know who he is. So yeah, he has a mask now. Anyways, so basically, he has a mask to cover his face. And what else was I gonna say? About a few weeks later, after the USJ attack, like maybe a week after the USJ attack, the League of Villains arrive, and basically they want Izuku to join them. Of course, Izuku is not wearing their masks, so they do not know that he's basically the anti-hero, who's called Cross, because Cross Sans. So basically his hero name is Cross. So they don't know it's Cross. They just think he's like a Cross fan or whatever. Maybe, I don't know. They try to recruit. So they want to recruit Cross. They want to recruit this kid because they saw what he did on TV. Izuku, while he seems like he's going in for a handshake, basically slaps Shigaraki's hand away from him, and gets out a bone cleaver and stabs it right into Shigaraki's chest. Shigaraki. Shigaraki falls on his back, basically bleeding. Well, he's bleeding, yeah. And he can't really get back up. I've fallen and I can't get back up. Kurogiri decides to put how was it again? He was going to basically Kurogiri summons a portal underneath Cross or Izuku, and Izuku falls right into it. And Izuku is just woke up in a hospital bed and sees a man in a suit with a potato head. And I think you know who that is. It's all for one, okay? And basically mechanical arms start to come from the bed, and he could see basically a mask, like an alternate version of his mask that basically has red eyes, and it puts it over him, and he basically falls asleep. And while he's asleep, the mask is controlling him. Basically, kind of like Timebreaker Bardock from Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2, or Xenoverse, depending. I never played the original Xenoverse. I played Xenoverse 2 anyways. But basically like Timebreaker Bardock, where where he's given this mask that basically controls him. So yeah, basically something like that. And while he's like that, basically causes havoc all across the country, robbing banks, murdering people, all that stuff.
And hurting their socks.
And then Zuko wakes up, wrapped all in chains in the middle of the bar, with a bunch of League of Villains members and Shigaraki and Kirigiri standing right in front of him. He figures out why he fell asleep from the mask. Basically, it's full of pheromones that makes the wearer fall asleep, and basically does the command of who made the mask, that being All For One, of course. Zuko, enraged by this, I just farted. Yay. Sorry, anyways. He tries to use his teleportation, but it doesn't work, since basically the chains that he's wrapped in nullifies his quirks, I should say, because he has multiple quirks. So what he decides to do is that he still had one of his bone cleavers on him, so he tries to pull it out from his back pocket, and while everyone's distracted from some grunt asking some people some random stuff, Azuku decides to try and pull out the bone cleaver from his back. Well, not like it was inside of his back, but like more like, it was in his back pocket or whatever. Because, well, he doesn't have pockets, but just imagine it's wrapped around his waist, and he takes it out and basically cuts one of the ropes, and then he takes off the chains, and then when everyone notices that he's escaped, they all charge him. The gunfire crew, whatever they call it, shoot their hand finger things or whatever. I can't really remember all the League of Villains names because there's a lot of them. This was after the USJ, so of course there are not as many anymore. There's only Shigaraki and Kirigiri. So basically, Kirigiri was asking Shigaraki stuff. I got all confused now. Azuku basically just smacks Shigaraki in the face with the bone cleaver, and then kicks Kirigiri in the face with basically a backward flip. And while they're both on the ground, Cross, or Zuko, takes his bone cleaver, which was lying on the counter, and basically cuts a hole in the wall and escapes. So yeah, in this AU, Zuko basically cannot be restrained. Every single time he restrains, he always finds a way out. And while you may think that, actually not, but anyways, sorry, I was thinking of something else. Zuko's life has been pretty tragic so far. Basically his mother is basically imprisoned. Well, not imprisoned, but still being interrogated. So what he wants to do is try to free her mother. But when he tries to go into full prison break, he discovers that his mother's been killed. It's been killed by a villain wearing a blue jacket with burnt arms and a burnt mouthpiece. Basically a lot of burnt stuff that's stitched together, and Blue Eyes, who also can shoot blue flames. And I think if you've watched My Hero Academia Season 3 or whatever, or Season 2, you would know who this is. Yes, it's Dabi. So, Inko's been killed by Dabi. And now Zuko is even more 10 times angrier than he was before. He's not taking this new life very great, good, whatever. And what he decides to do next is, since he's been watching Dobby, he knows that he's joined the League of Villains. So what he's trying to do is track down the League of Villains and see what their next move is, and then interfere. And of course, he's putting on his cross persona, has his costume and his mask, and their next move, they see that they're basically going to rob a bank. Well, they see Toga and Twice robbing a bank. What Cross does is when they take the money outside the building, what Cross does, because I'm calling Cross whenever he's doing her hero stuff, he immediately slices Twice's arm off by basically he was on the roof of the building, so that he jumped down, sliced Twice's arm off. That's painful, I know. Then basically tried to stab Toga, but she was able to avoid it, and Toga tries to throw a knife at Cross, and basically just tears a part of his costume. And Azuku and Toga start just swiping their cleavers and knives at each other, and basically Azuku throws one of his bone cleavers at Toga, and the bone cleaver catches part of her jumper, basically hanging her against the wall, basically pinning her to the wall. And Twice tries to attack with a broken off arm, and basically and what Azuku does is basically throws a bone cleaver at Twice, stabbing him right through the chest, basically killing him. So yeah, Deku's not fooling around. And he basically dips. Shigaraki is just now even more angry with this Cross guy, since he basically took out 2 of his grunts in the span of 10 minutes. So yeah, that's the end of part 2. Sure hope you guys enjoyed. Hope this gave you more insight to the character that Izuku's going to be in the future. Because basically now his main mission is just tracking down the League of Villains.
Hey guys.